We're live, and you can see them. But the only thing you can't see is just the presentation, but that's fine. Okay. Did everyone get the slide up? It's on YouTube? Okay.
Whatever you do.
I'm watching it right now.
And I have the silo up there too, so I can monitor it as well. I have the silo up on mine because I don't know, I have it on here, and it's live. So I don't know. Sorry, we had to turn it up. We didn't have the live chat feature. Oh, okay. That was not supposed to be shown. Yeah, I'll just go with the syndicate one. I'm getting the presentation up for you guys. Just in case more people show up. Okay.
Did someone check the
I didn't know yet, so I don't have my thing, so I can see it. Because once I start playing this, it's not gonna let me see. Keeps that, but can. That's a copy of it. It's fine, it's fine. Is it just me or is the presentation off a little? Oh, it has to be magnified.
yeah. Yeah.
All right.
The only thing we can see
Mine is not.
right.
Awesome. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Gail Ruggiero. I'm a psychiatrist and medical director at Cindy Hughes Health Center. I've been here for about 10 years, and I'm happy to meet with you all today, and I will pass it.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Fuller, Director of Counseling Services. I've been here about 10 years as well, so thanks for having us. And we're going to start this off with a question for the panelists. And our question is, if you could first introduce yourself and what your role is here on campus and how your role supports mental health or emotional wellness.
That was quick.
Just put the top over right.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Hi, my name is Rita Ravendran. I'm one of the Associate Vice Presidents and Dean of Students. And my colleague amongst you, Dr. Olson. I've been here for 6 months. So yay me. Thank you. And I would say that as the Dean of Students, my role in ensuring that students are taken care of and they are well is 100%. No doubt about it. Sometimes 110 on difficult days. So that's my answer to you.
Hi. Hi. Okay. So I'm Janae Christian. I'm the administrative assistant in health promotion and education over in Syracuse. I've been around the campus for like 6 years, like all over the place. And I think in being all over the place, both as an employee and a student, my current role allows me to support students, their mental health, and helping them believe it's okay when they come to our office. HPE, we have our sexual assault prevention program, we have a sexual health program, and then we have alcohol and other drugs risk reduction. And so sometimes people come into our office feeling a bit of shame or fear or anything. And so I try to ensure that they feel like, at least in HPE, they have a home and it's okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Radowski, and I am the Assistant Director of Member Services and Operations for the Student Recreation Center. I've been here at WMU collectively for about 7 years, and my job at the SRC is to help provide you all with the tools to live a positive, active, and healthy lifestyle.
I'm sorry to all right. I know. My name is Jose Alexis Mejia. I'm a Bronco alum. I graduated in 2018 and I started working for Western through the Department of Multicultural Affairs for Students, which is housed under the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. I work with a special program called the CAMP program that focuses on serving foreign working students. So I work with a lot of those students that are on campus and as well with our Latinx students that are on our campus. And I'm happy to be here.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Can you hear me? Mike, I wish I could do what you did, but I cannot. That's also a little startling as well, just let you know. I'm good. Our next question is, and we want to talk about stigma and what we could do as a university to help with the stigma of seeking out support. We do know over the past few years, we have seen an increase in utilization. Individuals that maybe have been gone beyond the stigma to come in and seek out support, but it's still there. There's still groups that may not come in based on maybe it's cultural, maybe it's family, maybe religion, whatever it might be. What can we do as a university to help break some of those barriers and reduce that stigma? And that could be for any or all.
Well, I think one thing that we can do to help reduce the stigma is to just help keep promoting the wellness wheel on campus and the great programs that everyone's doing, whether it be HPAG, multicultural affairs, student recreation center, everywhere. Just really building on that sense of community and letting everyone know that, you know, yeah, I have a loud and brash voice. I've been told I'm kind of intimidating, but at the same time, like, there's been battles that I've been battling internally for years now. So just because someone may have a rough or cool collected exterior, you don't know what's going on the inside. And it is okay to not be okay. And we just need to embrace our differences and embrace each other, because especially in this day and age and in this world, it's hard enough already. And if we can support each other, then, you know, we will be tied together. We will do better, because when y'all do better, we do better, not only as a campus, but as people in general.
So I would say that institutions or universities such as ours provide structured and unstructured opportunities. Microphone. Okay. Universities tend to provide structured and unstructured opportunities for us to build relationships. Okay, so that's first. So we want to empower students to understand that every single thing that you do, every day that you do it, is an opportunity given to you to have the option to build a bridge. Some of them are structured, like you have, classes that you enroll in. That is a structured opportunity to build bridges, right? And then there are unstructured opportunities where it might be at the gym, right? Or in an office that you're going to go ask for directions. Or it might be someone that you see along the way. Those are all unstructured opportunities. So imagine being on a campus where everywhere you go, your main aim in life for the next 4 to 5 years here is to be able to say 1,000 hellos. And you have a little card that, no, card is old school. You have it on your Instagram that you go like, oh my goodness, check out my graph, right? So those unstructured opportunities is where you can really create your network of support, I believe. And it's about something that a wise person always tells me is to be vulnerable. And what does that look like? And to be vulnerable for some of us is really to step out and say hello to someone. That's vulnerability for some of us, culturally, right? So going out and seeking help, just the help-seeking habit. I think institutions need to, and universities and colleges need to really help students understand what a help-seeking habit looks like. Asking for help is not a bad thing, but it has become something that is looked at as a weakness. And I think we need to overturn that. So how do we do that as a community? I look at Matt. Think about that.
So for me, I wholeheartedly believe in keeping things simple, but also I believe in human connection. So much like Mike and Rita said, just being able to hold space for one another. Like I think as a Black employee here at WMU, I recognize the stigma associated with seeking mental health services for Black people. And so one of the things when students come into the HPE office, you all will find that I take ownership of everything. Like I call everybody my students. The office is my office. My coworkers are my coworkers. So when my students come into my office, I often ask them like, "How are you doing?" And if they say okay, I ask, "What does okay mean to you?" And I specifically do that with students of color so that we can start using emotion words. And if students feel uncomfortable trying to find the emotion, I pull up an emotion wheel right there on my computer. I take up all their time, I don't care, right? But like I think just being able to take time with one another and care for one another, like breaking down somebody's okay or I'm fine in the moment are simple ways to help reduce the stigma of seeking help, specifically around mental health services.
I think they all answer that so beautifully. And just to add on what you're all saying, especially what you were just saying, yeah, I think one of the biggest transitions I first noticed from student to staff was I understood the college experience, right? I understood what it meant to have finances, have $3 in your bank account, and how that's affected me when I go into class, and knowing how I was going to be challenged with that. Not knowing that what I'm going to eat tomorrow, or not knowing when I'm going to see my parents again, or maybe mom and dad are fighting at home, but yeah, I still got an exam tomorrow. How can I cope with that? So we definitely strive within our program to try to see how we can break the day-to-day routine that a student goes through, from waking up to going to class, to going to the VDC, and then going back to the dorm. How can I get them to come into our floor just to talk to us? Because I believe that's true. I think it's the way we communicate with our students and our scholars, and for them to see that we don't just see them as students, that we see them, we know the struggles they go through and challenges that they face through in today's society.
wonderful answers. There you go. Oh, I'm good. All right. Here's another question for you. If someone has concerns about another student's well-being, how can someone report their concern? Rita. Jill, no.
Yeah, so online, just Google the internet, put in WMU, and I'm blinking on it, I apologize, on the course item right now, the student concern form, right there, in the question, I should have known. And you just go on there, fill that out, and then Syndic and Counseling Services will reach out and go about it that way. You know, there's been times when people that you wouldn't think have had to go to or went to it that you wouldn't think they did, or like chances are there's probably a good amount of professional staff on campus and faculty that have actually completed that form because, you know, we care about you. It may not seem like it, but we truly care about each of you. We're all Broncos. We all want to succeed and thrive together. So whatever it means to help you, we want to help you. Trust me, when I was an undergraduate going through my stuff, I had someone fill out the form for me, and it was one of the best things I could have ever asked for. At the time, I didn't think it. I was upset, hurt, frustrated by it, feeling almost double-crossed that someone would go over my back or over my head on it. But after sitting back and reflecting on it, I honestly would not be here if it wasn't for that.
So I can add, thank you, but that was beautiful. It's always good for someone else to answer a question when you know the answer by heart, right? Which means that education has occurred. So thank you. I will share with you that the student concern form, it is found online. And it can be completed by anyone. So it can be a student, it can be a faculty member, a TA, instructor, a GA, a staff member. If you are a student employee at Valley Dining Center, your supervisor might be able to fill that out as well. So it's equal opportunity form. Okay, anyone can fill it out as long as you feel that there is a concern that someone else needs to look into. Okay, and that form goes to 4 different people. One of them is me. I read every single form that comes to me. Statistically, there are days that sometimes we do receive about 4 forms, and some days we receive up to 18 forms. Most of the forms are filled out past 5 p.m. because that's when people have time to take a breath and fill out a form. Once we receive that form, we have a case manager who will reach out to the student and make sure that the next steps are followed. If you are a reporter, means you submitted a form, they will circle back with you and let you know that, thank you very much, contact is being made. Okay? No other details will be shared with you. You have to trust the process. And the process is very, very intense because we care about the students. Yes? Yes.
If I complete a student concern form, will that person that I filled that out on their behalf, would they be alerted to this? That I completed it?
No. Nobody knows who you are. Okay? No, we do not indulge. That's confidential. So you can complete it because you are concerned. That's it. Okay? If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. I am your Dean of Students. Therefore, I serve all of you. Good.
So, what is one idea or change that you think could better overall help the mental well-being for students? Is there a particular change that we could put in place that would be beneficial? Or what is a specific action or program that could be implemented to positively affect students' mental health and wellness?
So I feel like I got stuck with the mic, because we're playing like mic hot potato. But one of the things that I think can be implemented came from Mental Health Week, actually. In our office, we got a bunch of the cool resource magnets that you all created. And so like we have them sticking up because we don't care about defacing property, so we put everything all over the walls. But I think one good thing to do as far as implementation of these things is like faculty in their syllabi could add those resources to the back of every single syllabi. Specifically because like I've been a WMU student, got my bachelor's and my master's here, and felt like I didn't have to read the syllabi because I knew everything that was in it. I know that I can find WMU academic dishonesty policy in there. I can find the objectives of a course in there, even though I don't read syllabi anymore. But one thing I can now know is that the resources for mental health in the Kalamazoo community and on WMU's campus is in the back of my syllabi, no matter what class I have. So I thought about that, and that was thanks to you all on these purple shirts. I like it, thanks.
I think one thing we could do would be really when new students come on the campus for the first time during welcome week, all that, instantly have them sign up on the U platform. That way, everything that is housed right there is extremely beneficial. If you're not on it, I would definitely suggest creating a profile because you can do everything on there instead of trying to hunt around on the university's website like we had to do in our days many, many moons ago. So it's actually a pretty slick platform. I would highly suggest utilizing that. And then two, I mean, I remember when I was a graduate student here, right where the Valley Dining Center is now, this is going to date me, before the Valley Dining Center was there, they would just have like random shelters come in and people can adopt dogs and cats and stuff like that. And I'm a cat person. So I think every building should have a building cat. I think that'd be cool on it. Don't ask me how the logistics are going to work. I'll figure that out at the SRC. But other than that, yeah, I think just hammering on the U platform, and love the idea for the syllabi. I also teach an FYE class, so I'm easily going to be putting that in my syllabi coming this fall.
And just before we go on, is there anybody that's not aware of the UNWU platform? Whether it truly is interesting. Okay. So we need to market that better. So that was another thing as well. And also WellTrack app. Is anybody not aware of the WellTrack app that is free? Okay. They're going to be in the slideshow, and there's going to be some codes with those we like to download, but they're free to the students. So those are nice apps that can also help with your wellness. Sorry about that, Dr.
No, you're fine. I want to expand on what you just mentioned, Danae. And that is, conversations are already in the process with faculty development, and this is with regards to your LMS. Do you know what your LMS is? The learning management system, where you log in and your homework comes out, your Canvas, Blackboard, whatever you call it. What do you call it? E-learning. Okay, every campus calls it differently. So on your e-learning page, on the right side, there is a toolbar where we are talking about how we can put appropriate resources during appropriate times in the semester, which become relevant to you. So maybe in 5th week, you're worried about midterms. What are some strategies, Is it having some, go to the gym, have yoga, meditate, or is there, this is a phone number you can call and, talk to someone. So tutoring. So to make that more visible and apparent to you where you are at, instead of always making the student go somewhere, to really make it that it is where you are at, right? So that's really old school, actually. We tend to, many years ago, think that students need to come to us. That day and age is gone. Now, we need to reach students where they are at, and we need to reach them fast, because we are in this time of the instant noodle generation. or instant noodle time, right? You put it in 3 minutes, it's done, you eat. So it's called instant gratification. So that's how quickly you have to react, or else you've missed the train. Okay, so these are things that I think we need to think about and make sure that they are relevant to students. We need to be trendier. We need to be sexier. We need to be in instead of being really late. Okay, so there are some smiles from the younger generation. I like it. I think I've struck a note.
I really like the ideas you guys gave, and definitely I agree. I think it's within the time where staff and faculty had to go to the students. So I think just preparing, just continue to do a lot of professional development and prepare our faculty and staff to know that we need to engage with the students more. Not just in a 50-minute lecture room where the professor can give the course and you have a student that's dealing with a lot of things throughout that semester and is scared to go to class or doesn't want to go to class. So I think just like how you all were saying, just preparing our staff and faculty more, definitely. And I love the syllabus idea. I think that's definitely a good resource we can do, especially e-learning. But yeah, definitely looking to look more sexy for sure. Building cat? Oh, yeah, the building cat for sure. I'm allergic to cats, so I might have to say the dog buildings. That is.
You'd have to be hairless.
Okay.
I'm allergic as well.
Oh, look at that.
I will tell you that K through 12, elementary schools and middle schools and high schools are all adopting dogs. Did you all know that? Almost how many of your high schools and middle schools had a dog? See? Yeah. Cottage Central, Milton, is a dog. So if you are interested in helping us showcase mental health and you are happy and would like to do a TikTok video, let us know because people will follow you, right? On TikTok. Looking at you.
We have a question. It didn't show up here. I think we did it correctly, but we don't need to have it show up here. That's fine. The question is, if you have a friend that continuously comes to you that is struggling, how do you support that friend in need?
Yeah,
You want to go?
sure. So, just be there for them, spend the year. I had one of my best friends back home had something happen during COVID and it really tore him up. So, just one of those things. Just put yourself in their shoes. Think to yourself, what would I want if I was in this predicament? And knowing them, I know they didn't want anything to come out. They wanted to be very self-secluded, do all things. And I mean, we're in our early 30s. Our parents are both in their 60s. Like we're from that old school mentality. Like you don't talk about it. You stuff it down with some brown and go about your day. That is not the right way to go about it. So with him, there we go there. It was really just trying to pry it out. Try to pry out their feelings. Just let them know, like, dude, like, be vulnerable. It's fine. I know you don't understand why this is happening. I didn't understand why everything was happening when it happened to me. I want to understand. I want you to get better because the last thing we all want is for that situation that affected you is now affecting more people because they were going to do something drastic. So, and if it helps, be vulnerable yourself. Open up everything. It was actually the first time I saw them cry. And, it being my best friend, granted now I rib him about it all the time, but especially like when it comes to fantasy football and stuff, and I shellac him. But other than that, just being vulnerable and being there for them because I know that's what I would have wanted. And so just try to reciprocate it.
So in this phase, I take off my one hat and I put on my mental health provider hat. And I always say, be gentle with yourself, be intentional with others, and always hold space. And so I say that because even when your friend is coming to you, you're still a human being and you're impacted by the light and you're also impacted by the darkness. And so you go as far on the journey with your friend as you can. And on that journey, you look for resources. You look for people who can have the conversations in the right ways, in the educated ways, so that your friend can be your friend forever. So that your friend can be your friend for a long time, that you all can continue to have journeys. And in that way, you're being intentional with your friend. You hold the space and you listen to what they say and you give them feedback where they would like feedback and you hold the space and just let them get it out where they need to get it out. But always remember that you two are human and you and your friend both deserve the right resources.
Absolutely. So the only thing I was going to say was, yes, your friend comes to you time and time again. Make sure you take care of you as well. And I think you said it beautifully. So thank you so much.
You keep giving me the mic back.
I think they answered the question very, very, very nice. I would definitely agree with it.
Thank you.
How do you cope with lack of motivation and being mentally drained during a semester?
Ourselves?
Sure.
I think what I would do for motivation, I'm a first gen student, so I was the first one to go to college, and I think I would always look back at my younger siblings and the my younger cousins and whatnot. And I think if you understand the concept of why you're here, why you're at Western, I think that's what allows you to push and wake up every day to continue. I remember in undergrad, I always thought the reward was graduating, but then I finally understood that the reward was really waking up every day and deciding to go to class and deciding to put on my optimistic energy in the classroom, or deciding to do my homework, or deciding to finish my quizzes and everything I got to do before going to the go on Friday night or Saturday, right? So it was all those sacrifices I needed to do before doing all that. So that's what kept my motivation up. And then I realized that a lot of times it's not even about us. It's really about the person that's next to you. It can be a family member, a friend, those people that you're inspired. So that's what kept me going, continuing going through my years.
For me, it was piggybacking off that. It was always about the motivation. Coming from tied for the youngest with my sister, even though she's a minute younger than me, so I don't understand her generation. But it's always like, what was my motivation? I also was a first gen family member to go to college, and I had one parent tell me I didn't need to go to college, and then the other was like, no, you should go to college to pursue your dreams. And I knew the latter of the two really wanted that because they wanted to be proud. Not that they weren't proud of all their children. They wanted to be proud that, this was the one that first gen did it, and then continuing on, getting my master's and all that, doing an internship at Stanford University. But she kept telling everyone Stanford because she's like, I don't understand that there's a difference. I was like, well, one's in Alabama, one's in California. I'm in Alabama. She was, oh, I'll just tell people Stanford. I was like, all right, well. So, it was always the motivation to make her proud. So that's what always drove me throughout the semester and when I would get to that burnout time. And two, just doing what makes you happy too. Like we said previously, we're all people. I am, at my core, I'm an introvert. It doesn't seem like it, but I actually am. So like going back and recharging my batteries, whether it be watching a Chicago sports game or just hanging out playing some video games, just doing whatever I needed to do in order to recharge myself. But always the motivation was there to make Karen proud.
I love it. So I'm also a first generation college student. Currently getting my PhD, and I'm at the burnout phase of the semester, right? And I think I do have the privilege of having a strong, loving support system. But one of the things that I do for myself is I steal time, and I call it that because I recognize everybody's going to get it. So I steal time in the hallway between one thing to the next to just breathe. I walk slower. I hate taking the stairs, but I take the stairs just in case like somebody else is on the elevator and I don't have the capacity to just say hi, because sometimes like you just don't have it, right? And so I think the other thing as a student in like taking time when you're at your burnout is acknowledging that you're at your burnout. Like there's nothing you can do. You are not a robot. You are a human body. You're at your burnout. What does that mean? How does that look? And how do I stop? That's the most important thing those are the things that I ask myself and that I try to honor. Like always honor your humanity.
You speak. You're so motivating.
Well, thank you.
If you're ever not motivated, please go find her.
Yes, come to Cindy Q's Health Center. You come to Cindy Q's Health Center. We always have nice, cool stuff there. We sometimes have snacks. We're in health promotion and education. And I'll even give you a hug.
See? It's right here. Resources, all of us. I would say that everybody's motivation is different. You have your own brand, you have your own rationale, you have your own justification. Ask yourself each minute of each day, what is my motivation today? Because I think that changes all the time. I was a student not too long ago, maybe long for some of you were not born even, but things are still the same. You get what I mean? The 90s were no different from today. The struggle was real. The struggle is still real. The beauty of it when you are a traditional age college student is that that's all you do. Go to school. The ugly of when you're an adult or trying to adult is that there is much more than one thing that you focus on. And human beings are not built to multitask, even if people tell you they are. They're not. Scientifically proven not built to multitask. So, pace yourself. And always remember that there are going to be many, many balls juggling all in the air. All the time. And that's okay. You know why? Because all of ours are juggling all the time. There is no one person in the world who is like, all right, check, complete. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. So as I sit here at 5:15 on a Thursday evening, I'm thinking and trying to be actively present while I think, what am I going to go home and cook to feed my family, who I'm sure is not motivated to cook and feed themselves because mommy is coming home to do that. So I digress. But we all have responsibilities. And those are balls that are in the air that we're juggling. Maybe it's McDonald's tonight. But is that okay? Hell yeah. Absolutely fine. Sorry, baby. I shouldn't have cussed. But McDonald's is just fine, right? 2 for $3. I even know the advertisement.
It's okay that you cussed in front of the baby. He's my baby, and I cuss all the time.
Your mom is so nice.
That was a good cuss word for him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. You
Yeah.
realize we're live from somewhere, right? Okay.
Well, the only thing I'd like to add on this is also COVID has really played a part of this. I want everybody to keep that in mind, that you're definitely not alone if you feel that motivation has been sucked out of you a little bit. So keep that in mind, that seems to be the theme that we're seeing up in counseling, and even ourselves at times, seeing that it just sucks it out of us, that we are forgetting things, our short-term memories kind of impacted, you're not sleeping as well. So if you're seeing things that have really shifted from where you were to where you are now, motivation, for example, you're not sleeping well and stuff, that goes beyond motivation, of course, and please seek out some support for that. Because we'd like to be there for that, to walk through that with you, maybe participate in groups, it might be going down to see a physician or something, but COVID is really, that trauma associated with that has really been actually with the isolation. So if this is somewhat new, then please kind of keep in mind what that catalyst might be, what is creating this. But everything else is perfect as well, so take care of yourselves, the whole wellness stuff is very important in self-care.
Sometimes you feel like your professors do not care about you as a person, but only as students. It's a real stopper.
What's the difference between a student and a person? Wait, I'm asking you all. So maybe send the mic over. What's the difference between a student and a person?
I'll answer. I think the biggest difference would be that a student is just somebody that comes to class and gets a grade. Instead of looking at them as a whole person, you realize they have other stuff going on, and you have to account for those things as well. Like they come to class, just like he mentioned as well. Like you come to class, you got a million things going on, you can't get an assignment. What do? You go to your professor, and the professor says, "Oh, well, I have a deadline," and that creates so a high level of contention that therefore you can't give your full attention because it's just like you don't even care that I'm struggling, and I brought it to you as a person. You've been serving another human.
I appreciate the clarification. I think that was beautifully said. That was perfect, right? See, that was perfect. You're absolutely right. So I used to, in my other life, when I was also an adjunct faculty, I used to tell my students that the very first day when you come to class, you all are making an A. Okay? It is going to be so hard. You have to do a lot of things for you to make a B, a C, a D, and an F. Because there is 100% chance that you're going to keep that A. Now, in order for us to have this relationship, I want you as a student to come meet with me or seek me out very early in our relationship in the classroom. Because you want to go see a professor when you are in the best of times, not at the worst of times. Because it's really hard to negotiate when you have a pile of dirty laundry, and that's when you need to buy the washing machine. Because that's going to be really expensive, right? So you build on developing that relationship when you are at a good place. Always remember, your professors are not robots. They were a student once. Some of them may still be students. And so to be able to develop a relationship early, but at the same time, to be able to let them in a little as well. So we go back to that vulnerability that we talked about. To do that early, to let them know that you are a human, you are a person, you have other things going on, we all do. And help them understand that when you are at your best. Does that require effort? Yes, it does. So does a relationship. Right? So I know this sounds really profound and it's like, what is she telling me? I have to do more? You don't have to. Just be yourself. Just let the professor in when you are at your best, is what I'm saying. Develop that relationship. Don't be aloof. Okay? So it is no different from when you were in kindergarten. Somebody once told me you learn everything that you can in life at kindergarten. So don't forget those habits.
To play devil's advocate, I will say, are you coming to your professor person to person or student to professor? Like, are you taking that step back and like Dr. R was saying, they're a person too, you don't know what they're going through. So are you coming to them? How are you coming to them? What is your tone? What is your nonverbal communication going? What is the tone or presence that you're portraying to them? Is it really man, I botched it. I completely forgot to do this assignment. Now I gotta get an extension, da, da, da. Or are you coming to them just as person to person?
I agree with both of those things. I think my perspective, though, is driven from the fact that I am a first generation college student and I am a Black person who comes from a Black community and whose real first engagement with non-Black people was in higher education. So it was intimidating to say, I don't know. Right? Like I didn't know what it meant to say to an instructor, I don't know, or I feel different in your class. Like I feel like everybody else in the class is doing okay and they're experiencing it fine, but I don't really feel like I'm experiencing it fine. Like I didn't know how to say that, right? But the thing that I've learned along this journey is that in honoring my own humanity, I had to honor the humanity of another person. And so what I learned was that the best way to honor the humanity of your instructor so that they can honor yours is to learn the step-by-step process. So if you feel like your instructor is not honoring your humanity, you take it to your instructor first. Don't go to the university president. Don't go to the dean of the college. Don't go to the chair of the department. Go to the instructor first. If your humanity is disregarded in that instance, I do believe that can invoke feelings that are hard to deal with. You don't need to go back to that instructor. Advocate for yourself in the way that you go to the next person up. But understand the step-by-step process because it's fair to you and it's fair to your instructor and it's fair to you all's humanity.
Definitely, because not all professors are they're not gonna be great, right? They're not all gonna be talking to you. There's some that are just gonna be like, no, I don't really care what they got to tell me. This is what I'm gonna do, and this is what my teaching class, the way I'm gonna do it. So definitely, I think that's why I kept bringing up the aspect of training our faculty and staff to know how they can continue to engage with their courses. Because I just started my grad school, and last fall was my first semester, and I remember I was like on a 2-week travel where I was traveling to other states, and I had this big assignment due for one of my classes, and I met with my professor during his office hours, and I remember the professor talked to me, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm struggling with this class and whatnot, and I remember he told me, Alexis, don't worry about it this week. I want you to turn it in when you have it done. I'd rather have the best of you than the worst of you that's rushed. And I remember hearing those words like, what? Like, for real? Like, in the back of I'm over here having anxiety because I want to finish it and whatnot. And you're telling me to take time with, and just hearing those words come out of his mouth made me feel at peace with, like, wow, he's understanding where I'm coming from. So I think I've had those moments, those good moments with those professors. And yeah, they make me feel more motivated to continue in that course rather than withdrawing it toward midway through the semester.
Yeah, and it'd be great if every professor would approach it that way, but in all honesty, we know that is not the case. So that question was very relevant. I want you to know, again, I've worked here for 10 years, and I've had many concerns and struggles with sometimes the way that the professors are responding. Again, it's not a hit on them specifically, but just some instructors, professors, just they may not know how to work with a student that's struggling, but it comes across as an unwillingness to. And I think that's where then there's even more of that, why would you go to class? What's the point? So I love the approach, just have a conversation. If that does not work, please move it up if you need to, because ultimately you are here, we're here because you're here. We're here for you. If you were not here, we would not be here. So, and that's what we all have to keep in mind, that we are here to support students in their growth, whatever that might look like here at Western. And if that's somewhere a barrier and it's something that one of us is doing, we need to be called on it in a professional way. So I appreciate that. That is an absolute thing that does happen here, and we see it in many different departments.
So in summary closing, talking about depression and someone having symptoms, tell me about resources that people could go to, either that you're aware of or that you personally are running, that might be helpful for students who are seeking some support for their depression symptoms or
So I love talking about this kind of stuff. So let me say. So on campus, there's a ton of resources. And again, I do refer to WSA and GSA for their amazing magnet that they came up with. It has tons of the resources for students. But on campus, there is Syndicus. They have a counseling center here with trained professionals, and they're awesome. I work across the hall from them. But also in Sangren, there's an amazing counseling center over there that's run by graduate students in the counseling education, counseling psychology program. I came from over there, so I just feel like it's a good place to be. But also, like, there are amazing resources in the Kalamazoo community. So, like, Borges Hospital has a psychiatric ER. So when you're feeling overwhelmed in the middle of the night, you may not know a number to call, you may not know a person to go to, like, you can hop, as long as it's like before midnight, like, you can hop on the bus and go over to Borges Hospital, or you can call the EMS. But I also recognize calling the EMS, maybe your peers see what's happening with you, and that can inspire some feelings that you don't like either. So potentially catching the bus, a Uber, a Lyft, things like that, you can go over there. Also, there's places like, it used to be Kalamazoo Community Mental Health, but it's ISK, Integrated Services of Kalamazoo. And these are and the services that I'm suggesting are low cost or free services to individuals. And so, because finances are a barrier. But I could go on forever. You all can call me at 269-387-3263, and I would be happy to give, that's my office number. I would be happy to give you all any resources that I have for sure.
I would say another one, and I mean, who would I be? Especially my superiors would be upset if I didn't say the Student Recreation Center, of course, the largest recreation center in the Mid-American Conference, over 240,000 square feet of pure awesomeness.
Excellent.
So, and the beauty of it is now, for the remainder of this semester and then moving forward next year, undergrad and graduate students, your access to the rec center is tied into your tuition dollars. So all you got to do is bring your Bronco card, swipe in, and you essentially have the keys to the kingdom. And if you're ever there, I mean, look at me, I'm not a hard person to miss. Stop in, say hi. You'll notice all the bobbleheads up there. I'll probably be sitting there trying to figure out where I made an error on some of the work that I did, because, you know, I'm human just like y'all. But definitely pop in, say hi, talk about sports, talk about life, talk about animals, whatever. But definitely utilize the SRC to help you live a positive, active, and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I think they said a lot of the resources here, but as well with me, if you guys ever want to stop by Ellsworth Hall and chat, and I mean, sometimes I take a lot of students to lunch. We go hit hibachi buffet down in Westnedge or Chick-fil-A, whatever you guys want. Sometimes it's just good to get out the routine, so I'm more than happy to engage with any of you all.
Also, I don't know what the department is, but somebody on campus has therapy animals, but they're robotic. So for those of you all who have animal allergies, you genuinely, like, look up, like their robotic therapy pets, WMU. It's a whole thing here, for sure.
Very good. Anything to add?
Just one thing, for those that will not be sticking around to see this, if we could just go down to, I think it is 15 and 16, that's the well track. And you at WMU, just if you're interested in these apps and these resources, maybe you want to put them on your phone or whatever, that would be great.
School of Communication has robotic animals.
Thank you. I wonder if we can get one of those just to
I don't know.
over to the health center. Because Dr. Mashiro would love to have an animal there, which hopefully we can do that. By the way, another resource this fall, which we're developing, is called the Mind Spot. It'll be up in the health center. There'll be massage chairs, biofeedback, yoga, things like that. We're still developing that. I apologize it's so late. But we've been developing, but we couldn't really use it the last couple of years because it's in person. So if everything continues the way we're going, that'll be available to students as well. You don't necessarily have to be affiliated with the counseling center to use it, but there will be some sign-in and stuff you can do through your portal, and we'll get the advertisement out when it's all ready to go, but there'll be some great activities there. You can do it, just kind of sign it out for a little bit, hang out, whatever you need to do but it's part of your wellness. So that'll be coming as well this fall.
Any other hidden gems that we can know about the electronic therapy? Hidden gems? You might miss.
So shameless plug, HPE, Health Promotion and Education, is absolutely a hidden gem. Amazing people up there. We have a room we call the fireplace. We have a fireplace painted on the wall. Okay? Listen, come over, hang out with us. Call them back.
Next week is the SRC Student Employee Appreciation Week. On Thursday, we are having Sunny the therapy dog in the lobby, as well as some student massage therapists coming to get 15-minute chair massages. From 9:30 to 11, I know that's the massage therapist. If you do plan on attending, you still have to be in a mask, just that is their guidelines. So we need to respect that. We will do our best to have some at the SRC, but definitely stop by, come out, and if you are a student employee on campus, not only the SRC, but anywhere, we just want y'all to know that we appreciate you more than anything else, and we wouldn't be here without you.
And also, just one quick thing, we do have what is called an 8-session limit for academic year for counseling. That's not a hard limit. I want everybody to know that. That is just kind of to put out there that it's not necessarily going to be able to be an ongoing thing. It may not be weekly, but ultimately, if there's barriers, we'll continue to work with students. It's not that we're going to 8 or done. If there's 8 and then something else popped back up and you're in a good space, please come back. We'll start fresh if we need to. So that's really not a hard limit. Matter of fact, the average is 3 to 4 sessions throughout 90% of the students that come in. So I just want to let you know that's not a hard limit. It just looks like that.
Great. I would say that as your Dean of Students, my office is open. Anytime you can come by, we can have a chat, we can go and grab a coffee or a tea or water, whatever beverage you like that is legal. And we can go and have a talk and build a relationship. It's very important to build a relationship with your Dean of Students. Okay? So if it is at all top 10 on your list, number 1. Build a relationship with your Dean of Students, especially when they are cool like me. Yeah. Thank you. You see, I will confess that I had to bring a friend because I was nervous. And my friend has been here supporting me with a smile on his face throughout. All right, Dr. Olson. Next time when it's his turn on the panel, I will be there for you. So you see, even grown-ups have got their little hiccups.
Thank you, panelists, for your advocacy, and your work, and your support.
Thanks for everybody.